Hey guys! Welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. All the fresh details are waiting for you in today's video, so stay with us, hit subscribe, and share this story with your friends before we dive in. Thank you for being here. Demet Özdemir's absence from the glittering premiere of the film Bak Postaysa Geliyor, headlined by Yaman, sent a wave of whispers through the night. Can arrived alone, striking a confident pose on the red carpet under a sea of camera flashes, while murmurs grew from the lobby to the balcony. Where was Demet? Why didn't she walk beside him on such a big night? Within minutes, chatter at the venue turned into speculation online, and the questions began to echo in every corner of social media. Was this a routine scheduling conflict, or a sign that something had shifted? As fans know, Yaman and Demet Özdemir have long been the subject of fascination, not just for their past on-screen chemistry, but for a private connection that many believe quietly endured beyond the cameras. Though they tend to avoid making a spectacle of their personal life, they've been known to support each other in subtle, careful ways. And that's exactly why her empty space on a night so focused on Cannes' work became the headline no one could ignore. On the red carpet, Can kept things light. He smiled, thanked the fans, greeted reporters, and delivered charming sound bites about the film, the cast, and the months of preparation behind Bak Postaysa Geliyor. Yet when the conversation edged toward Demet, simple questions, innocently framed, he offered no direct explanation. He neither confirmed nor denied any rumor. Instead, he drifted back to the movie, its story, and the team effort that brought it to life. That graceful sidestep made the crowd lean in even closer. The more he chose not to answer, the louder the theories grew. Behind the velvet ropes, a different narrative started to circulate. According to people who claimed to be close to Demet, her absence was tied to relentless work obligations. She was said to be juggling a demanding shoot schedule, locked into long filming days and prior commitments agreed upon weeks, if not months, earlier. Those voices insist there's no drama, no hidden conflict, just a calendar that refused to budge. In their view, this kind of absence is being exaggerated by a public hungry for a story. But here's the thing about the world of celebrity gossip: even the tiniest gap invites an entire plotline to form. Where there's smoke, people are eager to declare a fire. Online, the audience split into two camps almost instantly. Some shrugged and called it normal, pointing out that Demet and Can have always paced themselves carefully with public appearances. Others saw a pattern. They hadn't appeared side by side for a while, and now a premiere, arguably a milestone in Cannes' current career chapter, had come and gone with no sign of her. To these observers, silence felt like distance. In truth, neither Demet Özdemir nor Can Yaman has offered an official statement that would put the matter to rest. No confirmation, no denial, just a vacuum that invites every interpretation under the sun. Inside the industry, the rumor mill proposed a solution: just one sighting together in the coming days, a single photo or a quick greeting at a different event, would lock the door on the breakup talk. For now, insiders say Demet's absence is more about workload than heartache. But until something concrete reaches the public, the guessing game goes on. Once the screening wrapped and the afterparty buzzed to life, Can kept his cool. Those who watched him up close noticed how relaxed he seemed as he chatted with his inner circle. He answered technical questions about the shoot with ease, enjoyed the camaraderie of his co-stars, and applauded the crew members who helped shape the film. When conversations veered toward private territory, he didn't snap or bristle. He simply redirected, with that practiced ease celebrities develop over time. Some commentators labeled it strategic silence, a kind of crisis management. Others believed it was a mutual decision between him and Demet, a promise to protect their boundary lines and let the work speak louder than any personal narrative. Demet, for her part, stayed quiet publicly. She didn't post about the gala or share a congratulatory note for Bak Postaysa Geliyor, an omission that fed the anxious corners of the fandom. Yet when observers scrolled back through her recent updates, they found a different energy altogether: vibrant, upbeat posts, glimpses from the set, and snapshots of steady forward motion. For many who have followed her closely, this isn't someone retreating. This is someone focused, with a schedule that leaves little room for detours, even glamorous ones. Another whisper taking root suggests the couple, if we can still call them that, has chosen to lock the door even more firmly on their private life. With gossip flaring every time they're seen, some say they are intentionally keeping public overlap to a minimum. They've been here before, speculation swells, a narrative takes shape, and then, out of nowhere, they appear in the same frame, sharing a laugh, a glance, a moment that renders the rumors obsolete. Those instances, though rare, have been enough to keep the hope alive for many who love their story. Of course, not everyone is convinced. There are those who insist that absences like this carry symbolic weight. They argue that in a world where support is most visible when the lights are brightest, choosing not to show up is a message in its own right. They claim it's a signal of cooling winds, a way of saying, we're not where we used to be, without uttering a single word. But pressed for proof, these arguments rely more on interpretation than on facts. It's a reading of shadows cast on a wall, compelling but never conclusive. For the moment, the picture remains hazy. While the night offered plenty of glamour and a proud milestone for Yaman, it also opened the door to a narrative that has nothing to do with scripts or cameras. All eyes now turn to what comes next. Will there be a quiet cafe sighting? A candid photo snapped by a passerby? A short caption on a story that mentions the film by name? Any small gesture could be enough to steady the ship, or stir the waters all over again. There was another layer to the evening that deserves mention. Word around the venue says some guests were specifically asking for Demet, even before the film began. More than one attendee was overheard wondering if she had planned to attend and then pulled back at the last minute. That curiosity didn't come from tabloids alone. Later in the night, a few producers, perhaps emboldened by the drinks and the music, tried to find out more from Can himself. He was gracious but steady. He shifted the conversation back to Bak Postacı Geliyor, highlighting its themes and the team behind it, and left private speculation right where it started, on the sidelines. Meanwhile, the posts tied to Demet's latest project began to circulate. Photos and short clips, from trailers to subtle behind-the-scenes angles, painted a picture of long nights and early mornings. People who wanted to see distance saw distance, people who wanted to see commitment saw commitment. In this world, timing is not just a detail, it's the story itself. And when timing means you miss a premiere this pivotal for Cannes, even the most generous fans wince a little. They want to believe it's only logistics. But they can't quite shake the thought that logistics sometimes disguise deeper truths. Still, perspective helps. This is not the first time that absence has been mistaken for a statement. And it's not the first time that Demet and Can have faced watchers who try to read their hearts by tracking their steps. Over the years, they've resisted the impulse to issue dramatic declarations. They prefer to solve what needs solving away from the red carpet, without microphones and anchor lights capturing every pause. Which is why, to those who truly follow them, silence doesn't always equal sorrow. Often, it's simply their way of choosing peace. Expectations, however, are sky high. A single award appearance could mute the noise. A simple photo shared at the right moment could soothe restless feeds. Even a short note, something as small as, proud of your work, tagged to the film, would turn the temperature down instantly. Without those, the narrative tends to write itself, and not always kindly. The longer things stay quiet, the bolder the theories become. It's the paradox of modern fame. The more you guard your private life, the more strangers feel entitled to define it for you. So we wait. We wait for the next panel, the next gala, the next snap from a street corner where two familiar silhouettes cross paths. We wait for a gentle gesture that feels unplanned, but might just be precisely considered. And we remember that the true story often reveals itself in a small moment, not a grand announcement. Back to the premiere. Those who paid attention to Can's demeanor noticed something important. He didn't look like a man rattled by headlines. He looked like someone grounded in the work he had just put out into the world. In interviews, he praised his collaborators, spotlighted the technical team, and emphasized the effort that Bak Postacı Geliyor demanded of everyone involved. He kept his replies measured when pressed about his private life, but there was no chill in his tone. Only a quiet insistence that this was a night for cinema, not speculation. And what of Demet? The energy on her feed suggests motion, ambition, and an unblinking focus on her current commitments. Some fans admit that not seeing her in the audience felt strange. Others argue that it's exactly what you would expect from two professionals at the top of their game, managing projects that don't always align neatly on a calendar. When you look closely, what you see might be less about distance and more about the reality of careers that pull in different directions at the most inconvenient times. The rumor that they've decided to double down on privacy has its own logic. Imagine living under a lens that magnifies every glance into a statement and every silence into a scandal. In such a world, choosing to appear less together in public could be a necessary shield. It's a choice that would make sense, even if it disappoints those who love the narrative as much as the people inside it. After all, stories can be comforting. But real lives are complicated and don't always offer an ending that pleases the chorus. There's also a practical angle that rarely gets discussed. Major premieres involve layers of logistics and responsibilities, and when schedules collide, someone has to bow out. If the absence happens to coincide with a moment of heightened attention, it becomes a symbol. But symbols can mislead. The people who know Demet and can best maintain that nothing dramatic has unfolded behind closed doors. They insist this storm is mostly happening in comment sections and gossip threads, far away from the room where two people simply get on with their days. Even so, it's impossible to deny that the silence has texture. It raises questions, applies pressure, and tugs at the storylines fans have held onto for years. Maybe that's why even a tiny sign, just a hint of that old warmth, would go so far. It would remind the audience that not everything needs to be spelled out for the story to be real. For now, what we have are fragments: a premiere without Demet, a poised and cheerful Can, the hum of online debate, the quiet of unposted captions, and the suggestion that a joint appearance is on the horizon. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe next week. Maybe at a moment so ordinary it doesn't feel like an announcement at all. And that's where we'll leave it tonight. The truth is likely simpler than the rumor machine would have us believe, and more complex than any single headline can capture. Until the next step arrives, an image, a few words, a familiar glance caught mid-laugh, we're left with questions waiting for answers and a story that refuses to be finished. Thanks for watching Secrets Behind the Stars. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and share. We'll keep following the latest twists and bring you the moments that matter. See you in the next one.